power of sci-fi radio.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
We would be honored if you would join us.
Good evening, everybody. It's another Thursday night, which means DB94. It's Season 14, Episode 48, as we get towards the end of May. I am Sean Obi-Shawn Crosby.
I'm Colleen Kaylee Crosby.
And there's no Jeff tonight. Sorry about that. He had to work.
He still exists. He's just not with us
yeah.
tonight.
It's not like we sent him on a long-range space mission to save the planet or anything. He's just not here.
Hey to frequent Falcon Flyer, who is the first in.
First in. Excellent. Let's see here. I'm getting some sort of weirdo error message over on the radio side of things.
Uh-oh.
So let me go take a look and see what that says about our live broadcasting. It says we're not connected at all, which is very weird.
Well, that's a bummer.
Yeah, let me try again. I'll just keep repeating it until it works. No, still not working. Wonder why. Weird, to be sure. But I'll restart it. We'll see what happens.
Joy. So it's been 2 weeks since we've been with you.
Yes. Sorry, guys. I had a brain fart, basically. I thought I got tickets to the Mandalorian for Friday night, and I was all excited to talk to you guys about it, see who was excited to go see the Mandalorian. Whatever. No, and despite all of the signage saying that opening day was the 22nd of May, they opened it at noon on the 21st of May.
That was wacky.
The theater we went to go see. It used to be that if they were going to do a Thursday night preview, it was at midnight. And that was we can get one in a little early, that kind of deal. But in this case, they started at noon or something like that. And they had a couple of showings before the showing that Colleen and I went to, which was at 5:15, which was why we didn't have a show, because basically it ended at about the time the show was starting. And of course we were in Hollywood at the TCL Chinese Theater.
Hey to Vicky and to Alan.
Hey.
Listening over at Facebook.
Woohoo.
And Talon Thorne and Skydance Dawn are joined Frequent Falcon Flyer over on Twitch.
Excellent. I believe that we are on the air with Twitch.
Sci-fi?
Yeah, for sci-fi, but not the sci-fi Twitch feed, I think, is what was giving us grief. So
well, we don't. Is that the one we don't? Oh no, it's your morning show that you don't want to go to Twitch because it messes with the music.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's there are things on Twitch that are not licensed that I'm not allowed to play that I do play all the time. It's like the Beatles. You can't have the Beatles over on Twitch. And if you do the individual Beatles, you can have John, Paul, and George. You're not allowed to have them, but you can have Ringo.
Weird.
It is super, super strange, but there you go. So anyway, so we are in fact on the air for sci-fi.radio, which is our radio feed. The station's been going for 20 years. I encourage you to pop on over there and look at what we have, because we always have really interesting news stories up there for you. In this case, it covers Disclosure Day, which is the Steven Spielberg alien movie that's coming out. The titles of which, at least on our graphic, looking suspiciously like Independence Day, which is kind of funny, these long, narrow letters. And then we've got X-Men 97 has a Season 2 trailer. Toy Story 5 has a trailer. We have a game called Hack the Gibson. That's a free-to-play game if you want to check that out. The Supergirl Intergalactic Station is an in-person event at the Grove here in Los Angeles, where you can go down to the Grove. It's next to Farmers Market on 3rd Street. It's a very ritzy, fancy mall full of celebrities and an American Girl store. And you can do this interactive Supergirl event on the 6th and 7th, and it is elsewhere in the world. So you could check that out. And then we have the Crunchyroll Anime Awards. So if you like anime, Crunchyroll has made its awards for this year, and we'll tell you what is the best of the best. That's the kind of stuff we put over on sci-fi.radio, so go check it out. And you could, of course, as our listeners are saying over here in the chat window, be on Twitch or Facebook or YouTube, and we're grateful for wherever you guys end up being.
Oh, we also on YouTube have Jedi Lorene, Matt Tillard, and that's it. I thought there were 3 people there. There's just 2.
Cool.
Yeah.
No worries. The
Can I jump in with something ahead of where it's supposed to be in the show?
Yeah, please do, because I actually have to run into the next room and get my glasses because I don't have the right glasses. I'll be right back.
Yeah. So, you guys, I just want to complain about Disneyland. Honestly, I have no reason to complain about Disneyland because I no longer have an annual pass, and I won't be back at Disneyland probably until November. But in November, this is going to piss me off. So they got rid of my favorite food, my favorite meal at the park.
What?
In Galaxy's Edge.
No.
They used to have this great, it was called Felicia Garden Platter, and it was Impossible meatballs with hummus and pita and some other little nummy bits in it, and it was really good, and I really liked it. And I didn't force the issue of going to get it the last couple of times that I went because I'm like, oh, it's always there, it'll be fine. Yeah, they replaced it with a salad. The only vegetarian option available in Galaxy's Edge is now a quinoa veggie mix salad with mini peppers, olives, and cilantro. So
wow,
it's not even a salad that I will eat.
That is
because I don't like olives.
A bummer. I'm sure that it is cheaper for them to do that than like the Impossible meatballs that they were doing. But what a drag.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to eat in Galaxy's. In addition to all the other stuff that they did at Galaxy's Edge, they did that.
Right.
So, and I know everybody has their own tastes, and not everybody likes that. But I guess I will just eat the hot dogs over at
Ronto
Roasters from now on because of that.
Yeah, it's always a bummer when they get rid of the stuff that you really like, and the
Talonthorn asks if they ditched the vegetarian pita. That's what I was talking about at Docking Bay 7.
Docking Bay 7.
But if you were talking about what they have over at Ronto Roasters,
no, that's still there.
As far as we know.
Yes.
I will just go double check.
When last I looked.
But I mean, when last you looked, did they had the thing that I just
Well, I don't know because I generally don't go to Docking Bay 7 very often.
Yeah.
And
I'm really annoyed about this.
The thing about Disneyland is they always make Disneyland your tradition. And we do. We go and we have traditions there. And then when they take them away, we're very bummed. And it seems counterintuitive to the way they tell you to experience Disneyland. So
they do still have the Ronto-less garden wrap over at Ronto Roasters.
Right.
They have a fried falampasette cheese skewer, which is potato with a cheese dipping sauce, not a dumping sauce.
Dumping sauce.
But I don't know how they can call it a cheese skewer when it's a potato that you dip into cheese. Whatever. They have the Ronto-less garden wrap, and then they probably still have the breakfast. Let's see if they still have the breakfast They do have the Ronto morning wrap, but I don't like the Ronto morning wrap, so that's not good for me.
Yeah, it's an acquired taste, to be sure.
Yeah.
So,
Grr.
arg.
Yeah.
That is a bummer.
And the reason why I noticed that is that Disney Eats put out an article about what foods are available at the Disney parks for the Mandalorian and Grogu.
Right.
And
Which
they
we'll cover a little later.
They said, here are the new things that we have at Docking Bay 7. And then they said existing bites to try. And they just have fried chicken and a bao bun with impossible beef for kids.
Meh.
Yeah.
Meh, say I.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
It's cranky. And it's annoying, too, that the Disney Parks blog only covers Disney World and Disneyland, and very, very occasionally, on very special occasions, they'll say one or two things. They'll say something about one or two of the other parks,
The global
but they don't
parks?
cover all of the parks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is too bad because, like, they're always doing really neat stuff in Tokyo. The other parks we've had really good experiences with some interesting popcorn options and things like that.
Talonthorn is asking if they got rid of the falafel and hummus plate. That is what I was talking about, that I was so annoyed that they got rid of.
Yeah.
And it doesn't actually have falafel on it, I don't believe.
I think it was impossible.
It was
meat.
impossible meatballs and hummus. So, yes, they got rid of it because they hate me personally.
Right.
It's all about me.
Well, so Colleen and I have been going to Disneyland together since we first got together in 1988, and we've had annual passes off and on in that length of time, and they have largely just continued to take out things Colleen enjoys. People Mover, gone. Skyway, gone.
Dancing at the Carnation Gardens.
Right, Carnation Gardens, gone. And you know, it's the petting zoo is gone. The barbecue is gone. And you know, it's okay to change Disneyland and stuff like that, but eventually that stuff adds up. And so, you know, when you are like us, approaching 60, and you've been going to Disneyland most of your life, it really does kind of add up with all the neat stuff you used to like to do that's gone. The Country Bear Jamboree, gone. Carousel of Progress, America Sings, like all of these things.
Jamboree.
They're all gone. And so it is a bummer. Although we have been fortunate enough that we've been able to go and do additional things in other parks, where it's like we went to Tokyo and they still had the Country Bear Jamboree. Half of it was in Japanese, but it was still the Country Bear Jamboree.
I think they got rid of the thing I liked over at Country Bear, the restaurant.
Oh, the Hungry Bear?
Hungry Bear, yeah, as well, because I noted that it wasn't there the last time we went. I shall look.
Do we have on our list the Carousel of Progress update that they're going to do in Florida?
I don't know.
Because I do want to talk about that. Well, we're talking about things that they're getting rid of. They're not getting rid of it per se. They're just gonna update it, which is kind of a.
They're going to update it to like now.
Yes.
Times?
Yeah. And I'll talk about it in a bit. I'm just adding it to the document so I don't forget.
Yeah, they got rid of what I liked over at Hungry Bear, too.
What did you like there?
They had a pulled pork plate over fries. It was like, fries with...
It was
like chili
just
fries, but with pulled pork instead of
right. That
chili.
was good.
Yeah, it was really good. So
Disney fail.
well, they have 6 months to make it better for me.
Right, to bring it back.
Because it's all about me.
Well, it is when you go to Disneyland, it is all about you. You are the lead character in your own adventure, and so it is all about you.
Yes.
And that's a thing that is like sort of a Disney tenet. It's like everybody who works at the park is supposed to make things great for the guests. And so as the guest, it is all about you. So, yeah, I wouldn't feel too bad about that. Do you want to talk about Mando a little bit?
Sure.
We'll do this as spoiler-free as we can, because it really has only been out for like a week, and we don't want to spoil it for people.
Seems like it's been longer.
I know, right? Oh my gosh, we've
been
been
a
waiting
long
for
week.
this for like so much.
Yeah.
Were you going to say something?
I was, but I realized that I didn't need to say.
Oh, okay. So we didn't have a show last week because Bonehead me ended up with tickets there. But on the plus side of things, we got to go to the Chinese theater where we have a long history of seeing Star Wars movies on opening day, and we got to do it with the liningup.net people, many of whom we've known since 1999, which is pretty good. And it's a thing in which many of our friends from many different walks of life all converge. Some of them are historical theater nuts. Some of them are Star Wars cosplayers. There's like lots of different people from all over the place who sort of converge on this event. And it was a fundraiser for the Starlight Children's Foundation. And so Starlight made $15,000 off the event, which is pretty good. And, they're a charity that helps kids out, and I'm all for that. So we got the seats that I like, one row behind where I usually sit, but not enough to make a difference. And so, I mean, it all kind of really worked out. And the movie itself, like the line experience was kind of fun. And of course, they camped out for 48 hours. We weren't doing that. I went and visited for a few hours the night before, but I wasn't going to spend the night. I'm getting too old for cement sleeping. And sleeping on handprints is also not good in the forecourt of the Chinese theater. But, all told, I think I got what I wanted to out of the movie. What did you think, Colleen?
Mine is a more mixed review because it was a fun popcorn movie.
Right.
So, and if you are a person who likes lots of fight scenes and lots of chase scenes, like, driving, racing, being chased, those sort of things, then it's good. And I bought popcorn, so I was happy to sit there with my popcorn and my drink, because we stopped at Starbucks and got a drink too. So happy to sit there with my popcorn and my drink and just zone out on a mindless movie. On the downside, there was zero character development, in my opinion, and there was very little plot.
Dawn says that they could have made a 4-part series out of it. I actually feel like they could have done a much longer series out of it, that 6 to 8 episodes. They could have done
a way longer series out of it.
Because they skipped over the character development, and which basically all of the sort of John Wick and Kingsman kind of fighty stuff in it. The fight scenes were great. They were elaborately choreographed, but they had a problem for me, which Colleen said she had kind of agreed with, which was the problem I have going to a Transformers movie, where there's a bunch of people fighting on screen. And in the case of Transformers, they're all big robots, and you can't tell what robot's doing what to whom. And I had this problem in The Mandalorian, and we saw it on an IMAX screen. It was very, very large, and I still had a hard time going, who's fighting who? What's happening here? It's 6 guys versus 1 guy, and where's our 1 guy? It was very, very messy. But in the, sort of action movie category, it was terrific. But my favorite thing about The Mandalorian, to liken him to another character, is, for me, Mandalorian works best when he's Batman. And so here's a guy. He has all the gear. He has all the training. And he's got intellect. And he goes out and he's solving a mystery, trying to figure out what's going on. And I like the solving the mystery part. The you know, we've got a clue and it takes us over here, which gives us another clue, which takes us over here. Like, do that kind of bouncing back and forth. I really like that. And then it can lead to a big fight scene because, you know, you end up having to get the final MacGuffin or whatever's going on. You meet the big bad that you knew was at the end of this hunt, whatever was going on. And then you have your fight and your chase and all that kind of stuff. It's almost a reward for watching the detective do the detective work. And that's the way, for me, The Mandalorian works the best. In this case, it was very much Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni doing all the things, putting everything they like into a Star Wars movie, which was good because I generally like those things too. But it was like A went to B, went to C, went to D, went to E, went to F. There were no surprises here. It's like you knew where they were going every time they set out to go do a thing. And the stakes were very low. You didn't feel like someone was going to take Grogu away or he was in any real danger. I didn't feel Mando was in any real danger. There, you know, and that's a problem I have with current Star Wars in general.
I would have loved to have seen backstory on Sigourney Weaver's character.
Yeah.
That would have been really cool.
That would have been a whole episode on itself. And
then they featured the pilots that were in Mandalorian before, the older pilots. And my first thought was, it's weird that they keep going back to these older pilots when you actually would want younger people to be pilots because they have quicker reaction times and are less likely to go, I don't want to die.
Yeah, I mean, the old vets are good, and you're always going to have the old vets.
But with the old vets,
where were the kids?
I wanted backstories, and I wanted young people because you're supposed to have young people in battles.
Right.
And I know maybe that's just awful to say.
No. We needed... And to cite a movie that actually stole a lot from Star Wars, by the way, we needed Top Gun Maverick, where you have the vets, you have the skilled pilots who are passing the baton to the younger pilots. There's probably a little bit of conflict there. And to be fair about this in Mandalorian, however, we are getting Starfighter. And Starfighter is essentially Star Wars Top Gun. It's going to be about all of that kind of stuff. And so maybe they're saving it up for this other movie. But Sigourney Weaver, as much as I loved seeing her in there, I felt like she was underutilized.
Way underutilized.
And some of the things they had her do didn't exactly make sense to me. But I was glad to see her. I loved that she was there.
And I mean, it was so clear that she was the person in the movie with the most... history of acting and skill in acting.
Yes. She was the pro.
She was, yeah. You're like, okay, that's easy to tell who's the pro here.
The Mandalorian is played by 3 different people, and there was no time where I felt that was a hindrance at all. One is more of an actor, one is more of a stuntman, and one is Pedro Pascal.
And Pedro Pascal is good. It's just there's not much... room for acting in a Mandalorian suit. And
and he has a little bit of claustrophobia. He has a lot of anxiety in little tight spaces. So I think the suit got overwhelming for him when he first got cast and they first put him in the suit. I think at some point he kind of went, that is a little too much for me. So Brendan Wayne, who's the grandson of John Wayne, is what they call the suit performer. And I think he does most of the acting, the performing in the suit. And then Lateef Crowder is the stunt performer. He does most of the stunts in the suit. They bleed over a little bit, and they both bleed into Pedro Pascal. And I want to give huge props and thumbs up to Pedro Pascal, who has been absolutely terrific at making sure these other 2 guys get credit for what they're doing. They're not trying to hide it. It's not like, oh, it's all Pedro Pascal. He's really making sure that these guys get credit for the hard work they put in. And I'm really grateful for him for doing that.
So over in the chats, there's a bit of chatter about whether the Rogue Squadron story will be good. And also,
Starfighter?
Thank you to Eric Gertz, who is subscribed for 28 months.
Good golly.
Oh my gosh.
Eric, you're insane.
Yeah. Foxtrot Joe says the voice actor for Rada was absolutely awful, and I'm sorry it completely took her out of the movie.
Which is a bummer because it's an actor Colleen absolutely loves.
I was excited to see him somewhere else. I don't know if I absolutely love him, but yeah, it didn't take it out of it for me, although I was able to tell that it was him.
Right. You like show that he does.
Yeah, I really like The Bear.
Yeah. And he was weirdly cast. The other problem with Rada the Hutt, and I don't think this is too much of a spoiler because it was in the trailers, is that unlike say Jabba the Hutt, who was his dad, Rada the Hutt has been more anthropomorphized. He's more upright.
Yeah, he was weirdly like...
And he was less slug-like.
A weightlifting bro.
Right, than the Hutts that we're used to. And it fit for the story, but it was a little unusual in the sense of like... just how wildly different he was from every other Hutt we've ever met ever.
The actor we're talking about is Jeremy Allen White. We never actually said his name.
I thought we did. I'm sorry.
No. And Rose points out that he was great in The Bear, but the thing that was weird was that he speaks Galactic Basic, which I also found that odd because I thought that Hutts were not able to speak fully in...
Well, I mean, you have to bear in mind that they're a criminal family, and it's akin to The Godfather speaking Italian. But you figure they probably know Basic also.
And Don says he expected more of a Hutt accent.
Yeah, exactly. And instead he did. He sounded like a Jim Bro.
Yeah.
Which was pretty funny. I enjoyed the cameo of Martin Scorsese.
Yeah, that was fun.
Who was in it? Martin Scorsese.
And he also, I have to say that even though he played an alien, so he voiced the alien, and the alien was, what, a puppet?
He was Hugo Durant. He was probably CG.
You could also tell that he was, like, his acting skills really shined through in his voice.
Right. Well, and so Martin Scorsese has notoriously been on record talking about how superhero movies and things aren't real cinema. And I kind of hope that these guys threw him in there, not just as a nod of like, hey, Marty, we like you, but as a, okay, Marty, now you're in one of those fluffy movies that isn't cinema. Which is kind of funny. But and also, if you know Jon Favreau's background, you know that he did a movie called Chef, which involved food truck stuff. And so he had a food truck and had a whole movie about getting it together and going and finding himself as a chef. Not a documentary, but a story that he was telling. This chef finding himself again by being in a food truck. And they got Roy Choi, who is famed for food trucks here in Los Angeles, where he does a lot of Korean taco kind of stuff out of his food trucks. And Roy Choi was credited in the film as the culinary advisor to the movie, which I thought was very funny. And they put Marty Scorsese in a food truck that the Mando has to go to. Yeah. And so it was just a little nod to previous Jon Favreau films that I thought was kind of cute. And to say that, though, there was so much fan service in this movie.
Yeah.
There were so many things that if you are, and like deep dive stuff, like if you're an old school fan going back to the 70s and you remember the toy line from Kenner, there were toys that Kenner made up that made an appearance as real vehicles in this movie, like weird stuff and characters, action figures that you never knew beyond being an action figure, really, that got much bigger parts in this movie. So like for me as a complete fanboy, I loved that kind of stuff. It didn't offset the fact that I didn't get enough plot or character development.
There wasn't. It was traditionally George Lucas-like in that it didn't have a lot of script.
Yeah. And you know, but that said, I mean, I think you should see this on a big theater if you want to go to a matinee or something. because there's a lot of detail in there to be seen.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's if you have the money to do it, and you are a fan of Star Wars and of chase scenes and
Yeah.
like just fun popcorn movies, seeing it on the big screen is going to be better than seeing it on the small screen.
But
it's going to be more fun.
And it really did feel like to me, though, that they took a 6 or 8 episode season and jammed it into a 2-hour movie. It really did. They're like, oh, if we cut out all the exposition, we just have action, But that said, it was neat. I felt really bad about missing the show last week to do it, so apologies for that. Like I said, totally my gaffe. But I thought it was worth seeing, and we walked out of there feeling pretty good about it. And then the event that we did afterwards was just like sort of a little pizza mixer. We got to talk to some people there, and Kyle Newman. I don't know if you know Kyle Newman, was the director of Fanboys. You remember the Star Wars adjacent movie Fanboys, where they drive across country to go steal a copy of Star Wars Episode 1 from Skywalker Ranch so that their friend can see it. He was there, and he is also a gigantic Star Wars Holiday Special fan. He's done a documentary on it, and so it was good to actually talk to him. And we're going to trade some stuff, which I think would be really fun.
So Rose says that she needs to know the name of the parrot creature, but I don't think it has one.
It doesn't, and I got to tell you, Rose, she sent it to me. She said, "What is the name of that bird?" I sent a picture to confirm it, and she says, "Yes, that one." And I've looked everywhere. It is an as yet unnamed species that was just thrown in the background. It looks like,
I bet it'll get a name really soon.
Yeah, it looks like
as
a
the toy
parrot
companies
that
get
has
hold
gone
of it.
through a tornado. It's like this crazy parrot thing that's just like really spiky and feathery, and it was just some cool little puppet that we have no frame of reference for at all. And actually, Rose, I'll tell you where you should look for this. Go to the bookstore, see if they have one of the DK press books on this movie, and they probably have a picture of it with a little line to it with whatever the name of it is next to it. Because it's exactly the kind of thing that the DK press books love to identify in there. Like, take weird things that we have no idea what they are and then slap names on them. So we'll learn about it eventually. I'm sure because it's Favreau and Filoni, it'll turn up in another project. But yeah, I have no clue what that is. It's a neat looking creature, but I have no clue what that is.
Yeah.
I don't know that I have any more notes on Mando. The puppetry for Grogu was really well done. I was impressed with that. He's much more animated than he has been in previous incarnations. I was hoping maybe we would get his first word in this movie, because he's more talkative, but he didn't say anything we could understand.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of interesting. And I mean, it just kind of left me wanting more. When I walked out of there, I didn't go like, "Oh, that was great." And you kind of like rest on the story and go, "I had a really good experience." It was like, there's more that I didn't get, I think, there, which was really kind of funny.
I feel like I walked out thinking that they could have done better. I enjoyed it. It was fun, but they could have done better.
Yeah.
And I'm sad that they didn't keep it as a series on television, because I think they would have done better as a series. And it's funny because when trying to explain to people, because people have asked me, should I go see it in theaters or should I wait? It's a really tough thing, because while I think it would have been better as a TV show, they didn't make a TV show. They made a movie. So they made it for the big screen.
Right.
And it really shows in the whole, like, everything is big. So you want to see it on a big screen.
Yeah. I'm looking up Star Wars Starfighter right now. This was a Patty Jenkins' project, I thought at first, but it looks like Sean Levy is maybe taking over, which is a little unfortunate because Patty Jenkins, who did the Wonder Woman movies, had a personal connection. I think her dad was an Air Force pilot, and so she was excited to be involved in it. Sean Levy's not bad, but I was looking forward to that personal connection. The movie itself is interesting in that Mia Goth is going to be in it. Matt Smith from Doctor Who is going to be in it. Aaron Pierre, Ryan Gosling is the primary star, and they are bringing Amy Adams to Star Wars, which makes me really happy. I really like Amy Adams. So there's a lot of stuff going on here that could be really great. And all it says, the only description of this movie, a new Star Wars adventure in a previously unexplored period of time. That's all they're saying. And so, I mean, all we really have is a poster. There have been discussions about it and whatnot. George Lucas is credited as a writer, but that may just be because he worked on, he created Star Wars. And if you want to know what Sean Levy did, he did Arrival, which was the really cool sci-fi movie with Amy Adams about communicating with aliens that didn't really speak very well. He's executive producing Stranger Things and Stranger Things Tales from 1985. He also did Free Guy, which I really like, the movie Free Guy. That was Ryan Reynolds as an NPC who gets awareness. He did The Atom Project, which was also Ryan Reynolds, which wasn't too bad. And Deadpool and Wolverine, which also had Ryan Reynolds. So, there's a thing going on here with Ryan Reynolds. But he's not in the Star Wars movie that we are aware of. He did Night at the Museum and a bunch of those movies, a whole bunch of stuff. So he's a super talented guy. So it'll probably be a great movie. But we've got a ways to. I think it comes out in 2028. So we've got time.
Yeah, it is pretty far away.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. So much can change in that time period. We have a Star Wars convention between now and then.
Well, some of us have a Star Wars convention.
Yeah, I don't.
So
Did we talk? Did we talk about that on the show? I think we did because it happened May 6th, and I think our last show was the 14th. Where people just did not get tickets. I keep running into so many people who are like, "Did you get tickets?" I didn't get tickets. It's harsh. It's really harsh. Reed Pop says they're trying to fix it, but it was really very tough. So we'll have to see. Rose asked where Jeff is. He's working. He's doing subs, I think, tonight or something at Disneyland.
Yeah, he tried to trade his shift and nobody was having any. So.
Could not do it.
Yeah.
So
other things that we did in the meantime, last Saturday, the Saturday before or Sunday before, I don't know which day, Sean went to the Yorba Linda Library, Star Wars Day.
Along with Jeff. Yeah, that's
then,
one we've been doing for a really long time.
And then last Saturday, Sean, without Jeff, I believe, did the Upland Library.
Yeah, Jeff changed his schedule around, but unfortunately he got the time mixed up. And he had to work at 4. The thing ended at 3. It was in Upland, which was a little too far away from work, and he didn't think he'd make it in time. So he had to bail out. It was for Road Squadron. It was just myself and Tim with his little X-Wing car. So we had 2 cars on display. Usually we have 4 or 5. And the event itself was actually cut down to about 2 hours. Alan, who's over in the chat, works for the Upland Public Library along with Adam. They've been the champion of this event for a really long time. I have been the MC of this event for a really long time, and this was the 19th year of the event. So it's been going on a while. It's changed libraries, done a bunch of stuff. But we only did 2 hours of an event that we used to do 6 or 8 hours at. In fact, we did it over 2 days one year because it was getting that big. But this year we didn't have a lot of guests, and we had story times. We lost a lot of 501st people. So like usually we do Darth Vader story time. I ended up reading 3 stories there because we didn't have Darth Vader. And that was a little weird. Something new that we had this year was there's a school called the Ovation School for the Performing Arts, which is out in Upland, and they teach kids life skills through performing arts. And a lot of the kids involved are on the spectrum somewhere, and they help a lot of kids who need little developmental nudges and things like that. So that was a lot of fun. I got to do improv with them, which was really neat. And they were fun. They were talented. And a big thumbs up to those kids who kept getting topics that like they were too young to really know about. Like one of the game that we played was called Opening Lines. And so there would be 2 kids on stage. One would pull a topic out of a box, and the topic would be like, who would win in a fight, Captain Kirk or Han Solo? And like these kids who are like maybe 13, 14, 15 probably do not know Captain Kirk very well. That's all I gotta say. Anyway, we had some fun working with that. There were 4 Color Fantasies, which is a comic book store out there, brought all their stuff. That was great. Mando Mercs were there. 501st, Rebel Legion. Of course, us with Road Squadron, and Dark Empire was there, which is a very smallish kind of subgroup that I've done events with in the past. No Saber Guild, I don't think was there, and we had a Star Wars Collectors Club that showed vintage toys from the 70s and 80s, which was really neat. They're there every year, and we also had the I think it was the Upland like reptile shop or something. They had all sorts of creepy crawlies and spiders and snakes and lizards and things, which were sort of stood in for alien creatures. And then we had Obi-John, who was walk around magician, and he was doing magic. Star Wars related magic up close as he walked around the whole event. He's a guy who's been there a lot too. He used to do Harry Potter with us and things like that. So yeah, it was a good day, but it was shorter, and I spent much more time on the road than I spent at the actual event, which is always kind of a bummer. So, but it was a library event, and I'm always glad to do the library events. And in my case, they don't have a PA system at this library, which I thought was funny. And maybe that's the case with many of them. But to make an announcement, I had to go into the library. I checked with the people behind the desk to make sure this was cool. And then I walked to the main stairwell. The thing looks like it used to be an old 1960s era like Broadway store or Bullock's or something. Like it looks like a department store kind of. And so there's this big open stairwell with chandeliers and all this kind of stuff. And I yelled my announcements all over the library, which is not a thing you usually get to do. Is yell in the library. So that was awkward and weird, but kind of fun. But yeah, thanks to Tim for coming out and all the people who did it. Adam is always great. Alan is always terrific. And we always make it work. You know, things kind of roll and they change. And it's such a casual kind of day. And I actually sort of owe this library a lot in the sense of it has really made me enormously comfortable on stage as an MC. And
That's cool.
just like getting up on stage with like no stage fright and rolling with the changes and making things happen. Like this year we had a costume pageant where all the kids showed off their costumes. And it was everything from, I bought this onesie on Amazon, to the kid who made Clone Commander Gree armor out of cardboard. And he was great. It's like, so it's like, oh, you're Commander Gree, and what's your real name? And my name's Timmy, and it's like, oh, okay, great. And then he's like, and I made this armor. I'm like, yes, it looks really tremendous. And he's like, and it's all cardboard. He was very excited. It was cool. And then we had one of the last, sort of pageant thing was just a girl in Hello Kitty jammies and Ariel mermaid slippers, and she had a little tiny lightsaber. And she's like standing there like she wants to come up and do it. So, we let her. She came up and she was Darth Hello Kitty. It was great.
That's awesome.
Everybody gets an opportunity to play.
Glad you had fun.
Yeah, it was good.
So then Sunday, I went to the annual Lanterman Summer Whites picnic, which was fun because it's in La Cañada. It's a historical home in La Cañada where I grew up. And when I grew up in La Cañada, it was not a historical home. It was just a home. So sometime after I left the city of La Cañada, it was donated. The house, the people who were living in it passed away. It was left to the city, and the city took several years to fix it up. And now for the past 20 or 25 years, they've been hosting events there and tours of the historic home. It's a place where Sean and I participate in Radio Roundup?
Radio Roundup is what
Yeah.
we've called it. They're old-time radio dramas that we do live in their ballroom.
Right.
Which is very fun.
So when my friends and I, who were there for it, went on the tour, they don't have tour guides taking you around through the whole house. They just have certain rooms open and a guide in each, a docent in each room. And the docents tell you, what they can if there's not somebody else that they're talking to or whatever. So I basically gave the spiel of the tour to my friends because I'd been on this tour so many times, and they were saying, oh, you should be a volunteer here. And then the person who's in charge of volunteers at the museum found me and said, hey, you should be a volunteer here. I'm like, ugh, it's too far away. Dawn, that was the one you went to. That was the Lanterman House in La Cañada. The Summer Whites Picnic is the annual event where you can wear the traditional summer whites that people wore in the Edwardian times, which are not all white. They are pastels and whites, things that you would wear when it's hot.
Light colors.
Yeah.
Light colors, light fabrics.
So I ended up, I wanted to wear a 1920s dress that I have, but when I pulled it out of the closet, it's a bit too faded. I need to re-dye it. It was, when I made the dress, I dyed the fabric and then made the dress, and that dye is starting to evaporate in the wind.
It's undying.
I meant to go out Saturday and get dye, and then I just didn't do it. So I wore something else.
We
and
did it later.
Made a big picnic, which was fun, and just had an enjoyable time. So that was nice.
I'm showing you a picture of the house that Colleen went to here. This is the front entrance of it, but it's a 2-story house that has a big ballroom on
It's
the
deceptive,
upper floor.
too, because you can't tell that there's a ballroom on an upper floor in that. It doesn't look like it's big enough.
Right, it doesn't look like it at all.
And also, you can't tell from that photo, but the very center of that photo, there's a courtyard there.
Right.
And the bedrooms in the house they have doors interior, but there are no halls. So if you were at the back of the house and you wanted to go to the very front, the master bedroom, without going outside, you would have to walk through 3 other bedrooms and 2 bathrooms in order to get to the master bedroom.
Right.
So, because what the family normally did was they walked out of one of the many, many French doors and used the covered walkways to get to the room they were trying to get to.
And what you also may not be able to tell from this picture is that the real distinguishing feature of this house is that it's made out of concrete.
Yep.
Because they were worried about fire. So they built this
And
entire
earthquakes.
house out of concrete.
The doctor who owned the piece of property, had gone up to San Francisco to help out after the San Francisco earthquake. and saw the destruction from the earthquake and the fires. And so that's why he chose the building materials.
Right. And they also used to have an amphitheater on the property, which featured a pipe organ. And they would do organ recitals and things like that there in this big amphitheater, which they took down.
It wasn't an amphitheater.
Wasn't it?
According to the docents that I talked to, it was in the courtyard.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And so what they did with this organ, like after the family had passed away and whatnot, it is now residing in the El Capitan Theater on Hollywood Boulevard across from the Chinese Theater, which is also showing The Mandalorian right now. And that organ is having a second life in that theater. It's an old Wurlitzer organ that they have 4 different organists play, one of which is my old high school drama teacher. That's what he's doing in his retirement, which is really fun.
Cool.
And but yeah, it's nice that they managed to not only save that organ, but put it into a place where the public can enjoy it. So like if you go see Mandalorian right now at the El Capitan, they're playing Star Wars music on it, which is really cool. It happens before every show. And that's just kind of a neat thing, especially for me who got blown off a balcony once trying to TP that said teacher's house. He had a theater organ in his house, and he blasted me off the balcony with the Star Wars theme. So every time he plays it down there, it's always kind of cool for me. Anyway, it's a really neat venue. And yeah, this is extremely deceptive, this picture, because the house is considerably bigger than it looks here.
Mm-hmm. So, and Sean and I didn't really do much on Memorial Day. We just mainly did a bunch of errands, ran around. We bought Lucy she got a new room.
Right.
So that was fun.
Lucy's an Eastern box turtle. And we had her in a standard tote, and we decided to give her more space.
So we got her a big tote.
Now she's pouting because there's more space.
She doesn't like that we changed her spot.
We maybe we just need to rotate her around or something.
Maybe, we don't know.
Because maybe she got used to facing north or something. No idea.
The feng shui is wrong.
That's right. She's.
I think turtles are concerned with feng shui.
Very pouty about it.
Do you want me to read the Star Wars history, or do you want to just do the whole thing?
You can or I can, either way. Whatever makes you happy.
I'll read it and then you talk about it.
Okay.
Star Wars birthday history, 5/26/1907. John Wayne, who is the voice of Garandon Ez Zavor, was born.
That's one of those characters didn't really have much of a name until the action figure people got to it. And the tenuous connection to John Wayne is that they used his voice from another film. They took it, they sped it up, they made it weird sounding, and so he has this weird little kind of voice that is nuts.
The character is the one that looks kind of like an elephant with dark glasses.
Yeah, I have a picture of him to put it up. He's the guy. They use these little communicators in Star Wars, and so he's the guy who's like communicating to the stormtroopers and sells out Obi-Wan and Luke when they come out of the cantina, and he looks like this guy, which is pretty funny. We actually have a friend who plays this guy in at events, which is our friend Zach has this costume, and so he shows up. But this was one of those guys we didn't know much about at all in the initial release of Star Wars, and all of his backstory got filled in later when they needed to, which was pretty funny. But the voice of this guy is actually John Wayne. Ben Burt doing some weird stuff with his voice. Yeah.
A lot of big birthdays on this list. Star Wars birthday 5/26/1913. Peter Cushing, Grandma Tarkin was born.
Right. Not so much Grandma Tarkin.
Whatever.
But of course you know Peter Cushing. And apparently such a doll on set that he had a really hard time being terrible to Carrie Fisher, and Carrie Fisher had a hard time being terrible back, which was funny. So there's something I noticed about the past couple of weeks, especially around like the 9th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, like in that block where Colleen's and my birthday also fall. There are a lot of creative people born in that time period, like celebrities born in that time period and stuff. It's really crazy. And in the last week, there are 3 people that are born within 2 days that were absolutely huge movie stars for what they did. And Peter Cushing is one of them. And who's the next one?
The next one is 5/27/1932. Christopher Lee, Count Dooku, was born.
Christopher Lee passed away in 2015 at the age of 93. And his life, you know how everybody talks about Chuck Norris and how badass Chuck Norris is? Christopher Lee was actually that badass. He was in World War II as a young man. He fought for the what was it, the League of Ungentlemanly Warfare or something. When they were doing Lord of the Rings, he went to the production offices of Lord of the Rings and said, I read the books every year, and I used to know Tolkien, so perhaps I can help you. And then on set, they were like stabbing a guy with a knife, and Peter Jackson's like, hey, do it like this. And Christopher Lee walked up and said, that's not what that sounds like. And Peter Jackson's like, what do you mean? He's like, I know what that sounds like because I've heard it in person. I mean, he was just an absolute badass. Peter Cushing was his absolute best friend. He was born the day before, on the 26th of May. They met in 1957 on the set of a movie that was a Frankenstein movie. And Chris Lee walked in and he got so upset. He's like, I don't have any lines. He's really, really upset. And like without skipping a beat, Peter Cushing looks up from what he's reading and he says, oh, be grateful. I've read the script. And anyway, they were fast friends to the end of their days. And also born, I think, on the same day as Chris Lee was Vincent Price.
Wow.
And so, like, you have this trio of Hammer horror bad guys, and it just absolutely incredible. And so, yeah, go do yourself a favor. Go to Wikipedia, read the Wikipedia page on Christopher Lee, and see just how badass he was. His hobby was knowing everything about all of England's executioners from the Middle Ages forward. He, like I said, he read Tolkien once a year without fail and knew everything about the thing. When he was on the movie doing a voice for The Last Unicorn, he walked into the studio to record his part with his copy of the book in tow with bookmarks in it. And he went up to the producer and director and said, this is great, but you missed all these parts in the dialogue. And you need to put them back in the movie.
Wow.
It's like he was just nuts. He witnessed the last execution by guillotine in France.
Crazy.
He was there for that. I mean, just it's bizarre. Absolutely bizarre. And then of course he was in Star Wars, he was in Lord of the Rings, so the movies that he was in, he's the actor whose movies have made the most money of all time. He was also in the Guinness Book of World Records for being the tallest leading actor of all time at 6'5", which caused him problems in his career because everybody was shorter than him. And he's got a couple of other Guinness Book of World Record things too. which are pretty interesting. So, yeah, by all means, go check out his Wikipedia page because somebody needs to make a biopic on this guy because his life is just absolutely insane.
Wow. Do you want to do the top of the hour before we continue?
Sure. I'll remind you that you are listening to sci-fi.radio, sci-fi for your Wi-Fi. That is our actual URL. You can go over there, look at a bunch of news stories, check out our schedule, see what's going on. We broadcast live and pre-recorded music all 24 hours of the day. So go have fun over there. And we're always grateful when you do it. I have a morning show, of course, that airs at 9, from 9 to 11 Pacific time. And our schedule will also check out to whatever your schedule happens to be when you pop over there. It should have your time zone. And we've actually just recently spruced up our page, which is really very spiffy and neat and cool. So go do check that out. And you could also be watching us on Facebook or on YouTube or Twitch. If you are there, find a way to say hey and thanks and let us know that you were there. And no Jeff tonight. I'm so very sorry. He had to work tonight. I am Sean Obi-Shawn Crosby.
I am Colleen Kaylee Crosby.
And Kit, Boba-Kit Sovine, does our show control document, posts our links, and does all sorts of really cool stuff for all of that. And to all y'all over at the chat who are chatting away, glad to have you guys there too.
Our next Star Wars birthday history is May 24th, 1925. Carmine Infantino, comic artist and editor on some of Marvel's Star Wars comic series, was born.
Carmine Infantino is probably the Star Wars artist you were first introduced to. He did all the pencil work on the Star Wars titles and worked on every issue up until The Empire Strikes Back came out. Archie Goodwin was the writer, and they created just all sorts of amazing stuff. And so he got started, like once the movie ended and they were doing their own thing, he came in. He had kind of an interesting blocky character style that was his own. And while I prefer the style that is very accurate to the actors' likenesses and things like that, Al Williamson used to do that kind of art for Star Wars. This is the art I grew up with, and so I have a very soft spot for Carmine Infantino. Even though the art's kind of wonky.
On 5/23/1938, Robert Watts, who was a production manager on A New Hope and associate producer on Empire Strikes Back, co-producer on Return of the Jedi, and also played Lieutenant Blanade in Return of the Jedi, was born.
Lieutenant Blanade, and again, they give you these weird names for people who didn't have them in the movie. He was one of the AT-ST pilots that Chewbacca throws out of the AT-ST on Endor. He goes up to the walker. You see two guys driving the thing. He reaches in and grabs them and throws them out the hatch and then takes over the AT-ST. He's related, interestingly, to Jeremy Bulloch, who played Boba Fett, which was kind of funny. But Robert Watts had like a pretty long career of working on all sorts of really great movies, including Who Framed Roger Rabbit, if you want something that's not Star Wars, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, and The Temple of Doom, and Raiders of the Lost Ark. A super talented guy who brought you movies that you like.
May 28th, 1938, Alan Harris, who played Bosk, was born.
Bosk was our cool, funky, lizardy bounty hunter who basically had like one whole scene in the movie. He was wearing, if you look at Bosk, let me find a picture of him. If you look the character up, and this is a cartoon version of him, but I think it'll be just fine. His suit is actually from Star Wars, which they used in the first Star Wars movie, but it is also from Doctor Who. So Doctor Who had these flight suits in varying colors, which were really kind of interesting, and they sort of Star Wars them up a little bit. And there were gaskets for extra sleeves and stuff, which they took off, and then allowed his sort of lizard hands and stuff to come through as a bounty hunter. And so he was one of those, intergalactic men of mystery when he showed up on the bridge of the Star Destroyer, and we had absolutely no idea who this dude was. Everybody has a favorite character in Star Wars. Sometimes they're very minor characters. In this case, Mary Franklin, who used to be the assistant head of fan relations with Steve Sansweet, this was her favorite character. And if you went into her office, she had every single piece of Bosk memorabilia ever made in her office. It was pretty great. We always knew if we needed to bring her like a little thank you gift, we could get something with that character on it. Always made me laugh.
On May 25th, 1964, Ray Stevenson, the voice of Gar Saxon and played Balin Skrull, was born.
The voice of Gar Saxon?
That's what it says.
Gar Saxon?
I don't know.
The only Gar I can think of right now is the one that is in Galaxy's Edge.
Gar Saxon was a ruthless Mandalorian warlord and commander who prioritized power, shifting allegiances from Darth Maul's Shadow Collective during the Clone Wars to serving as the Galactic Empire's brutal viceroy of Mandalore. And he is... he's like a Mandalorian, but with yellow, black, and red armor.
Got it. Well, you'll know him better, of course, from the Ahsoka, where he played Balin Skull, and so he was the very tall, very large, bearded, sort of Jedi outcast. We're not really sure what he was. He had like an orange lightsaber or something. Interesting that he was born on May 25th, which was the day that Star Wars was released in 1977. And he died May 21st, 2023. He was only 58 years old. He'd been a pilot, his dad was a pilot in the Royal Air Force, and he was in Ireland because of that. He saw a play with John Malkovich and then got inspired to study drama. And so he was in The Three Musketeers in 2011. He was in Thor as Volstagg in 2011. And all sorts of really sort of interesting stuff. As big, like larger than life kind of characters as you would imagine. So he was in the G.I. Joe movies. And I'm looking to see what his really early stuff was. Mostly stuff we didn't see, I think, because they were British. So, but he was... everybody really liked his character. We were actually really disappointed when he passed away. Don has his costume. He cosplays as his character, Balin Skull from Ahsoka. So,
moving on to regular Star Wars history, Sean has already said this, but I'll repeat it as an official item, that on 5/25/1977, Star Wars hit the theaters.
And you were there.
I was there.
You were there. I was there the day after.
Chinese theater. Well, I wasn't there that day.
Yeah.
I don't actually remember what day I was there, but I do remember standing in a long line. So
my mom saw it the day it came out because my stepdad was a bank vice president at Great Western Savings, which was up the hill from there. And she was his ride because we only had the one car. And she went to go pick him up. He had a meeting or something, and she went to go kill some time, walked right into the movie, sat down and watched it, and went, oh, this is that movie Sean's been talking about. Came home, grabbed me, grabbed my stem uncle, took us back there the following day, no line yet, on a Thursday, and walked in, saw the movie. And then the next day, Friday, all hell broke loose. And that was when the lines were around the block and all that kind of. We got really lucky. And to be able to see Star Wars in the Chinese was a very special treat. It was one of the biggest theaters around. It was one of the oldest theaters around. And it had the Sensurround speakers from Earthquake from 1974 that would shake the whole theater. So much so that they had netting over the very elaborate plaster ceiling because pieces of it were falling off onto people sitting in the audience. It was an experience, to be sure. And of course, the Chinese theater became ground zero for that. They started, I think, in like 32 theaters, and then they opened it to 44 theaters, and then they did a mass nationwide opening, and some of those theaters did not stop playing Star Wars for an entire year. They had a special poster they released.
That's crazy.
For the 1-year anniversary of those theaters that just didn't stop showing the same movie. I feel bad for the people who had to work that theater. They're like, this is a frickin' Star Wars. Can you imagine a whole year of Star Wars?
Yes, I've had a whole... How long have we been married?
Oh, yeah, Colleen's
years
had...
of Star Wars.
35.7 years of Star Wars.
Well, plus the 2 years before we were married.
Right. I told Colleen, as my big admission of, you should know this before we get married, I'm like, I'm a really big Star Wars fan. And she's like, yeah, Star Wars is fine.
And also, like, there were just the 3 movies. It wasn't that big of a deal.
We all thought they were done. I thought they were done. We didn't know we were going to get more.
Star Wars history, May 24th, 2007. Star Wars Celebration 4 kicked off in Los Angeles.
And we were there. We worked really hard to get that here in Los Angeles. I worked with the city council on a parade that never happened. I worked with the city council to have May 25th declared Star Wars Day in the city of LA, which did happen. And I got to write the proclamation for it. It was in downtown Los Angeles, exactly where the next Star Wars celebration is going to take place on the 50th anniversary. So this was 20 years ago for the 30th anniversary of Star Wars. Man, it was a busy time. And that was the year that I did 160 charity events in 1 year. Because day one, January 1st, we were marching in the Rose Parade that year as Star Wars characters with George Lucas as the Grand Marshal. And then it didn't let up. We had the museum at the California Science Center, the big exhibit there. Star Wars did not let up that year. Crazy. And of course, we had Celebration 4. People came from all around the country to come check it out. And downtown LA wasn't ready for it yet. The city wanted it. I think they cut Lucasfilm a huge deal. I think they gave them the convention center for like a token $1 if they would bring the event to the city. But they didn't have the infrastructure that they have now. I think it's much better suited in downtown LA, but people are still afraid to go. They're like, I like Anaheim. It's next to Disneyland, and that makes me feel safe. But downtown LA has a lot going for it now. It's got a lot more places to eat. It's got places to stay. There's a train that comes in and out of that location, so you can actually stay somewhere along the train path and take the train in. If you manage to get tickets and you're coming, there are a lot of ways to do this much better than 20 years ago. So, and you can shoot me a note. I'll be glad to help you if I can.
And final Star Wars history is from 5/28/2007. Star Wars: A Legacy Revealed aired on the History Channel. It was a TV show. Woohoo!
I remember when they were doing this, where it was like, the sort of history of Star Wars stuff, and we didn't have the History Channel.
We still don't have the History Channel.
And it was it was one of those things that talked about the history of Star Wars and whatnot. In fact, we have a link up here. I guess Kit's not with us tonight.
I think she's working.
Yeah. So let me take this link, and I will put it over in the chat. I didn't realize she wasn't doing this. So this is a link to the full special, the full hour and a half long special. And it's really kind of funny because, like, J.J. Abrams is there talking about Star Wars and the kind of impact that it had on him 10 years before he got to direct a Star Wars film and things like that. So it's got some kind of interesting stuff in it. But anyway, that link that y'all just got, that is that special, and you can watch it when we go off the air.
Awesome. So one more Star Wars thing, although we had talked about Star Wars meals at Galaxy's Edge, and I was complaining how the Star Wars blog doesn't post the stuff in other countries, in the international countries. Well, I found that not inside the Disney parks, but in Tokyo and Osaka, they have opened a limited time only, so it's a pop-up cafe that is an ode to Star Wars, The Mandalorian and Grogu. Although they've said here it's Star Wars, The Mandalorian and Grogu.
Grogu. Well, the guy posting this is a guy that Colleen likes to watch videos of, who's relocated from Canada to Japan. And he does a lot of travel logs and things about Tokyo Disneyland. And he was very useful, actually, when we were looking to go over there.
It looks like this is actually written by someone else, though, because it says it's by Explorer AJ.
Oh,
and
okay.
His name is Chris.
Well, it's his page.
It is his page.
TDR Explorer, and which is Tokyo Disneyland Resort. And yeah, some of these stuff look kind of interesting.
A lot of Jell-O.
Yeah, they seem to really like the.
I mean, I think it's Jell-O. Those could be beverages. I don't know.
Like the Jell-O. I mean,
the Mandalorian burger is fun. It's got a little Mandalorian
Mando
collar
wrapper.
on it.
There's like some sort of like R2D2 drink thing in a cup or dessert. Not really sure what that is. Let's see.
The what looked like one Jell-O dish is a milk pudding with a macaron.
Oh, okay.
It is a parfait featuring milk pudding and muscat grape jelly topped with a blue macaron.
The cutest in the galaxy stew.
So see that frog that's on the plate next to it?
I do.
That's a potato.
What?
It says, a stew inspired by the cutest Grogu, misspelled again,
Sure.
in the galaxy. Place the frog-shaped baked potato wherever you like and enjoy.
What's the brown stuff that it's on? Gravy, maybe?
I don't know. I thought that was just the plate, but maybe it is gravy. They really like gravy in Asian countries.
Yeah.
And then, the stew has little meatballs in it, and it's got a green rice Grogu in the middle of it.
A fly inspired by the Sawgon frog. I don't know what that means. Do they mean fry?
I wonder if it means fry. Yeah.
I mean, it's
Japan.
horrifyingly
What is food?
stereotypical.
Fly.
If I think they mean fry. 'Cause
I
it's
think
a
they
weird
mean fry.
Fried thing.
Yeah. There are a lot of typos here, so perhaps
Yes.
the person who wrote this is not a native English speaker.
Right. I get that. That feeling.
But it does look interesting. It does look like something that you'd get in the Star Wars universe.
Yes.
It's just
Like Sebulba would eat that.
Yeah, it's just like a piece of fried fish with blue mayonnaise on it.
Here's the mini parfait, the R2D2 mini parfait, which
it is
Ramune sherbet, milk pudding, and whipped cream.
Yeah. The Mandalorian drink pouch, which is below it, I thought was milk, but it is a grapefruit-flavored lactic acid bacteria drink.
Okay, I guess they're concerned with keeping you regular.
It contains aurora powder that shimmers when held up to the light.
Ooh.
Ooh, and then there's a Grogu milk tea. I like milk tea. This is milk tea topped with melon sherbet. They topped it with cherries to evoke the image of a cheerful Grogu.
I am going to say that the person...
That one is on purpose.
Person writing... I don't think so.
No?
No. I think the person writing it is Asian, and I think they are having problems with the L's and the R's, which is always the stereotypical...
But they keep spelling it
thing.
different ways. And it's spelled correctly in the title of the item.
Right.
I think the glow goo... I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't
wrong.
think it is.
They have Luke Skywalker melon soda. I do like melon soda.
It's green. That's fair.
Yeah.
Ahsoka Tano Whitewater. Is she rafting? I don't know what's going on there.
No, she's kneeling down and she's talking to Grogu. Yeah.
It again is a lactic acid drink. Inspired by Ahsoka's lightsaber colors, which are blue and white. There's one for Zeb, Galazeb Aurelios, blueberry soda.
So a lactic acid drink is a non-alcoholic beverage produced by the fermentation of milk. So basically the people from V would really like this.
Right. No, it wasn't V. It was Alien Nation.
Alien Nation, yeah.
Yeah. Bottled peach iced tea.
Did you see the blueberry soda?
That was the one for Zeb?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you would like that.
Yeah, it's inspired by the colors of his bow rifle and contains butterfly pea syrup.
Yeah, butterfly pea syrup is just what is used to make drinks look purple and food look purple, or sometimes blue, but mostly purple.
This lets you keep the bottle as a souvenir.
Nice.
The bottled peach iced tea. Hot tea and coffee, and you can buy the mug if you like the mug.
Dark side curry. With what looks like black rice. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
And then they have a whole bunch of merch that you can buy.
The description says, please enjoy this while feeling fear and despair. Oh my God.
That's hysterical.
Oh, I would so go to this place.
Oh, 100% I would go to this place.
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff you can get, like
if we were in Japan
cards
right now, we would be getting in the car.
Oh my God.
Yeah, or on the train, actually.
There's like plates, there's mugs, there's glasses, all sorts of stuff.
Canvas bags.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's that for that.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I would so order the curry just to have fear and despair.
Right.
On a plate.
Right. I would order the curry because I like curry, but also
I like
have the
curry
fear and
too.
despair.
I like curry too.
All right, so let's get into theme parks. In California, the park hopping between California Adventure and Disneyland for pass holders has been at 11 a.m., and they are ending that on June 9th. So in a couple of weeks, you won't have to worry about switching between parks if you want to rope drop.
That's only bit me once or twice. We got there for like Adventureland Day, and I got there too early, and my reservation was made for the wrong park. Usually when I get there, it's after my show in the morning, which ends at 11. So I'm usually there by like 1 o'clock, and this has not been an issue for me. But there are a lot of other people who've been complaining about it, and I'm glad to see it go. Because it's just sort of like a weird relic of, the reservation system and like COVID kind of. So, and they did change it. I think it used to be 1 o'clock, and then they made it earlier in the day. And they really should have just gotten rid of it.
Yeah, well, soon.
Yeah.
BDX droids are back at Batu West starting on May 22nd, so they should be there now.
They are. You remember those guys who were the little tiny
Did you get to
droids.
see any when you went?
Not my last trip, but I've seen them before.
Oh.
Which are really cool. And in fact, right now, if you go to Disneyland, you can get a popcorn bucket that is one of the little BDX droids. And so they have this kind of half-scale version of him. He's pretty cute. He's got a little light up eyes and stuff like that. He's since he's a popcorn bucket, he's got a big container in the front that you can put your popcorn in or do whatever. It comes with a shoulder strap, which is what I've got in mine right now. And he's actually pretty cute. He's about $30 with tax, I guess. And
He's adorbs.
And he's articulated. You can scrunch him down. You can pose him however you want. And he doesn't make sound, but he's got a couple of different eye modes that you can do. So he was, of course, a pretty big hit this past week when I was there. So he's really fun. I think he needs a paint job, which I'll get to someday. But yeah, he's a lot of fun with some really good articulation. And there have been a lot of popcorn buckets that I have been passing on. Like the Jabba sail barge and the C-3PO head, protocol droid head, and things like that. But this one I gave into because he's just super cool.
Too cute.
He will be posed with my car when my car is on display because I surround it with little droids, and this guy's pretty epic, I think. So
Going back to park hopping for a moment, Don asked if they'll only take one reservation choice, and no, Don, you still have to tell them which park you're going to go to.
Yeah.
But you just can turn around and walk back out and go into the other park.
Right, not get stung.
Yeah. So, Sean went on the new Smugglers Run ride, which has been updated to be Mandalorian and Grogu enabled and go to more than one planet. So, tell us about that, Sean, and while you're at, or during your talk, you can talk about baby mode.
Completely. So when you first make your way through the line, everything's pretty much the same. They're still doing single rider line. And I got to tell you, for just doing an update on Smugglers Run, I expected it to be much more crowded and longer lines. But the lines were about 30 minutes, which is pretty acceptable. And if you do single rider, which always gets you the engineer position, no matter what you do, unless you trade with somebody in the crew, you will end up as the engineer. But if you do that, the wait time is about 10 minutes. You just like walk in and they put you in. And sometimes they're cool and they'll put you and your friend in if you go in as a twofer. So Judy and I did 3 missions, and 2 of them ended up being the same. And so the way it worked out is you go in, and Hondo gives you a new updated spiel, which removes all the resistance talk. So if you remember in the previous ride, you went in, and Hondo partnered up with Chewbacca, who came in. Chewbacca wanted coaxium to get to the resistance, and Hondo wanted to make some money off of it. It was like a win-win situation for them. Chewie loaned you the Falcon, and you flew it on this mission, and you collected up to 2 containers of coaxium through the adventure. It was very linear, and you made your way back to Batu at the end of the ride, and it was fun. It was pretty good, and of course you got a score. You could make up to 13,000 credits on the ride, I believe, and you would see how close you could get to that. And pilots flew, gunners shot, engineers fixed the ship. So now it's changed a little bit where you're actually stealing the Falcon, because Chewie basically lands it and says like, "Hey, can I park here?" And he leaves, and then Hondo's like, "I have a ship for you that you can fly." And so
terrible.
You go and steal the Falcon, send it on a run, and it's when you first get into the loading area by the Falcon cockpit, when you're in the corridor, there's an instruction video that Hondo usually does. Hondo passes you over to Mando. Mando says that he needs your help bringing in a bounty, and they're going to start on Tatooine. And so he sort of explains what's going on. Hondo is like, hey, grab any crates you see because anything that you steal we can sell and we can make some money off it. And you go in and you sit down and you take your usual positions. And when the ship takes off, Mando and Grogu are on all of the little screens and they're telling you what to do. It's like, we're going to go to Tatooine, so get clear of Batu so that you can hit hyperspace and make it to Tatooine. And so as you take off and you go in, Grogu is on the screens next to you, fiddling with buttons and causing trouble and basically being an agent of chaos. And as a gunner, you're still doing gunner stuff. And I think you have a tractor beam you can use. As the pilot, of course, you have to fly. But as the engineer, you now have other things to do. And one of these is choosing a secondary destination. And so in the middle of the ride, when things go awry, thanks to Grogu's messing around with stuff, you have a choice. You can go to Coruscant, you can go to Bespin, or you can go to Endor. And whichever one you choose as the engineer, and it'll tell you, left engineer, make a choice, right engineer, make a choice. And it gives you these three options on your screen. Whichever one you choose sends you to this other planet. And so we went to Cloud City, which is Bespin, and went flying around through the Tabana gas mines. Really, very interesting. We went to Coruscant, which was, basically, as we've seen in the other movies, flying through the buildings and tunnels and that kind of thing, chasing this bounty. I have not been to Endor yet because at the two of the rides we were on, the engineers selected Coruscant. And so I've only done those two. But the ride seems a little longer. It's certainly very fun. The option with having Grogu there on your screen is really fun. And there is an option to do Grogu mode. And Grogu mode is basically just him all the time, no chatter from anybody else you can understand. It's very much like Chewie mode, where it was just Chewbacca growling for the entire ride and you had to kind of know what you were doing. This is the same kind of thing where Grogu's on the screen causing trouble for you and you don't see anybody else. You don't hear from the Mandalorian or anything like that. And when you go through the whole adventure, you get your score, the credits that you got. And as you're operating tractor beams and stuff, you're pulling these crates on board and things. And Mando's got to save you. And the one failing of the ride for me is the same problem I have with the movie, which is there's so much stuff going on screen that I don't know what's going on. Now, I haven't been the pilot yet. And I imagine that when I get to be the pilot, I will see everything that's going on as I pilot. And the story will make sense. But if you were a gunner or an engineer, it's hard to tell what's happening. And that is a little bit of a failure. There's lots to do, which is great. And there's certainly a lot more to do as an engineer than there used to be. So you don't feel like you're getting a crummy position. But it's challenging to figure out what the story of the ride is.
That's too bad.
And I feel that that's a failure on the Imagineer's part. Because, and especially if you're like, you end up going to a different place, your secondary ride, where you like roll in and you're like, oh my gosh, where is, this wasn't what I saw last time. And you have to figure out an entire new thing that's going on. Whereas like Star Tours, everybody's looking out the front of Star Tours and it's very linear and it makes sense. This is much more complicated than that. And there's so much going on. And you're like, okay, I see Mando's ship, and then like the Razor Crest side door lowers, and Grogu's there, and I don't know what he's doing. He's saving you. He's using the Force on you. I'm not sure what he's doing. So I feel that's a fail to me. I'm usually pretty good at picking this stuff up. I'm usually pretty good at looking at a movie and knowing exactly where it's going to go in terms of like what the plot is and that kind of thing. This stymied me. This was crazy. It was definitely fun. Everybody had a really good time on it. The crews that we flew with had never flown before, so that was chaotic. But we also ended up getting pretty decent scores of 17,000 credits out of 22 or 23 or whatever it's supposed to be. And then one of the other things I had hoped that they would fix with this, you used to get credit in your app, the Disney Play app, for doing these missions, and that did not happen. So
I feel like they're going to just ignore the app until it becomes unusable, and then it's going to go
and
away.
then just get rid of it.
Yeah.
Which is really a bummer. It's just like one more thing that is sort of failing at Galaxy's Edge that used to be amazing, and now they just don't care about. Because I really did like that. I've got like 320,000 credits in my app, and they never did anything with it. They for a while you would accumulate them, and you could also walk into a store, and they would look at it at a readout that would give them some really basic information about your day. Oh, I see you did a mission for Hondo. That looks like it went pretty well for you. Congratulations. Are you here to spend some of your credits that you won on your mission? That would be, really appreciated. That kind of thing. And it made you feel like you were living in the world, and now they're just throwing it all away. So that's a bit of a bummer. I really enjoyed that, though. It really was a good thing. And I think that, like when Colleen goes back for Life Day in November, or if she goes before then, I think you'll really enjoy it. It gives you a little more to do. And you've always been great with the engineer position.
I like the engineer position.
Yeah, and so I don't think it's overly complicated from what it used to be. It's just a little different.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, though, on the missions that I went in with people who hadn't done them before, I warned them in advance, both crews, that all three crews, in fact, that push anything that blinks. And so if it lights up green, push it. And one of our pilots couldn't reach the hyperspace handle and could barely get the joystick. But the ride, of course, goes on without them. But that was kind of funny because she kept hitting a green part that did nothing. Mm-hmm. But the gunner just sat there and didn't shoot in front of me, and that was really awkward. And like people still had a hard time understanding that this is it's a ride, but it's also a game. And that you were supposed to participate in it. And like these kids who were like of PlayStation, Xbox, console age, who should kick butt at this, did not know what to do and didn't get the idea, even though I'm like, hey, if you push those buttons, you shoot at the spaceships out there. And they're like, okay. And then they wouldn't do it. So that's still a problem with the ride. And yeah, Zach, we just talked about Grogu mode.
Moving on to the new Magic Key renewal perk for annual pass holders in California, Magic Keys. Starting yesterday, when you renew your Magic Key pass, it comes with a dining card. Depending on how much you spend on your pass is how much they'll give you on the dining card. So if you have the least expensive pass, they give you a $25 dining card. If you have the most expensive pass, they give you a $100 dining card. They are good on passes purchased between May 27th, 2026 and May 26th, 2027. That's confusing.
Right. So if you renew for the next calendar year as of yesterday.
Yeah. Your dining card is emailed to you within 72 hours of your renewal, and you just present the barcode or account number at participating food and beverage locations or add it to your mobile order in the Disney app. You can also put it in your Google Wallet or your Apple Wallet, and they don't say what the participating locations are, but I could imagine it says churros, Dole Whips, and full sit-down meals are included, so I imagine that there is a large variety of places that accept it.
Yeah, it's probably just about anywhere that will take a gift card, is my thought. And it may even work in downtown Disney where they do accept like your pass for some of that. So we'll have to find out. When I renewed my pass, I signed up for the Disney credit card, which was they also periodically will offer money off. Like I think we got 400 off the pass, and part of that was like we paid $200 of your credit card, kind of a deal, and then they upped it to 600 at one point, where because I don't know, people weren't buying annual passes as much anymore. I think this is part of that too. I believe that people are doing less annual pass buying, and a lot of people on our chat over here have mentioned that they no longer have a pass because it's gotten expensive, really expensive. And instead of lowering the pass price, they're trying to find perks to throw at you. I'd rather that they lower the pass price.
Yep, that's what most of the people in the comments of the article said too.
Yeah, so it's a kind of a bummer.
Florida has merchandise for the, well, it says in our article, the rock and roller coaster. Oh, I see.
Yeah, it's
the rock and roller coaster starring the Muppets.
Yes.
Merchandise. I was like, I thought it was now the Muppets. I thought it changed from the rock and roller coaster to the Muppets roller coaster, but it is the rock and roller coaster starring the Muppets.
Right. They basically kept the name and made it so that they had to change minimal stuff, because it used to be the rock and roller coaster starring Aerosmith. And so they just sort of changed the special musical guest on it, and so they have a whole shop that, you know, because every ride exits through the gift shop basically. It still looks like a rock concert. It is still involving the Electric Mayhem, so they didn't have to change a ton of stuff. They just had to make it more Muppety. And I have to say, I went to I went to a Disney outlet store in Ontario, coming back from the event in Upland, which is about 50 miles away from here. And so I stopped at this outlet store, and they had an entire section, which was probably about 10 feet across and maybe 12, 15 feet high, that was all Muppets. So they had dolls of all the Muppets up there, and so Disney's sort of like embracing the Muppets in a way that they haven't in a very long time. And I don't know if we have this ride to thank for it. You can kind of see some of that here, where in this picture that I'm showing you, there's a big orange blob at the bottom, which is basically a big pile of animal dolls over there. And so they've got all of the characters sort of represented in doll form.
I didn't see anything in the images from the shop that I would bother to buy.
No. I mean, it's the usual T-shirts and stuff.
There's stuff that's okay. It's just not exciting to me.
Right. And I don't have an attachment to this ride. Although I'll tell you right now that the last time I rode this ride, which was maybe in 2010, I rode it with a Muppet.
Right, because you had Yoda.
Because I had my Yoda puppet, and I was in the front of the car, and I'm like, "Are you sure you don't want me to leave him here on the platform?" They're like, "Take him with you." So Yoda and I got squished down under the safety bar, and we did this ride. I was dressed as Obi-Wan. It was for a Star Wars special event during Celebration, and the last tour to Endor. And these things are cute, and they're related to the ride. But like I said, I don't have an attachment to the ride yet. And it's also kind of weird. It's like Miss Piggy is like a pink lady or something. She's got this grease thing going on.
It's weird.
Which is a little bizarre. But to be perfectly honest, I am happy to see any Muppets anything, because the Muppets have been ignored for so long.
Yeah, that's true.
It's cool. And I hear that the animatronics on the ride are absolutely stellar. And in fact, they did, Colleen worked at a motion capture studio. They did motion capture on Scooter. They put him in a mocap suit with markers, and they motion captured the puppeteer's operation of Scooter, that they then translated over to their animatronic figure, so that he operated exactly the way a puppeteer would operate him. it was actually very clever. So I feel kind of good about that too. They're really putting some effort into this. So
Nice. Moving right along, we have
Dug-a-dung.
a new lightsaber workshop that is available for free in both California and Florida. Did you have a chance to check that out, Sean?
I didn't. We'll go.
It's for building kids' lightsabers.
Yeah.
And I think it takes place in the regular lightsaber build where the expensive lightsabers are, but I'm not positive.
Right. Savi's workshop.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can get this to do it. It's let's see. It says that you can pay for it, but
You can pay for it. I thought it was because
Yeah.
they don't let you take a lightsaber home.
because they're talking about the regular one that you can do with Savi's. It says a free way to visit Savi's workshop with a new offering called the Youngling Saber Building Expo, a Lothcat Crew experience. And so it has already started. It's a limited time, though we don't know when it ends. And it's for kids 3 to 9 with an accompanying adult. And it said it's also open to those who are kids at heart. Guests visit Savi's workshop to learn about the lore and legends of the ancient art of lightsaber building. There may be some hands-on lightsaber building involved, but you don't get to keep the lightsaber you build for free. It's an entertainment experience. Part of the problem with Savi's workshop is that if you're not paying to build a lightsaber, it's empty. And so, like, you might have 3 or 4 people. Colleen and I went in and we watched them do the experience. A friend of ours was conducting the build. And so we watched him do his thing, which was really cool. And they had like 4 guys in there. And they can take like 12 guys in there or something like that. So they're only doing this at Disneyland. They're not doing it at Hollywood Studios. And at Hollywood Studios, for whatever reason, it's $275 now to build that lightsaber.
Oh my gosh.
It's $250 at Disneyland.
Wow.
But it's crazy. And I feel what this is that it is an event that is designed to mimic what they're doing at Universal Studios for Ollivanders, which is everybody gets to see the show, but one person gets to choose the wand.
Yeah.
And the person who has the wand selected by them, for them, of them, can buy that wand.
Right.
There.
But they don't get it to keep it unless they buy it.
Right. And
Yeah.
so I feel like it's just one of those things that's sort of,
Yeah, that's what I think it is.
how do we utilize this space more? And I'm good for that because I want the people who work this space to continue to have their jobs.
Yeah.
And so it really looks like they're either going to cut their hours or they're going to let some people go or they're going to do whatever. And if this is a thing that is popular, it's I think it's pretty cool. Yeah, actually, this article then mentions Ollivanders in here too about that, and so I feel that that's really an answer to that because Ollivanders is absolutely a huge experience when you go to Harry Potter Land over at Universal, and I always thought that Savi's should have had an onlooker opportunity where you could watch these things being built even if you were not spending $200 to do it.
Yeah, I think so too.
So
As long as they weren't disruptive. I think that's part of the problem is they don't want anybody to be talking
right.
or anything like that because it'll pull away from the people who just spent all this money to do that.
Well, and the thing
Like they need to have a window that you can line up to go inside and be in the space behind the window so you're not in the same room but you can see it.
right. And which was something they would have had to set up in advance.
Yeah.
When we used to do Legoland, you could do that with the model builders and watch the model builders build. There were risers you could stand on. There was a big plate glass window that you could look through and watch them build Lego stuff, but you couldn't interrupt them and you couldn't bother them unless you pounded on the window or something crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for it if it's a thing that helps these guys keep their jobs. I've always said that if I worked in Galaxy's Edge, that's the job I'd want. I think I'd be very good at it. So we'll have to see what happens with that.
And the last theme park item is an update to the Carousel of Progress in Florida.
Right. So it's kind of an interesting situation where they have decided that they want to have a more modern Carousel of Progress, which kind of makes sense to me, because it's been about the same with some slight updates since it was at the World's Fair in 1964. So they're gonna close it. If you're in Florida, Carousel of Progress moved from California over to Florida, and we don't have it there at all. And our building has gone through all sorts of unspeakable modifications. They can't even host a show like this anymore in it. But Walt Disney's Worlds can still do it, and they are still doing it at the Magic Kingdom. It's closing on July the 6th, so you have about a month to go and see it as it is now. And they are basically going to update all the audio animatronic figures, and they're going to update the story. So currently, it starts at the beginning of the last century and works its way up to like the future plus 20 minutes. So it's like, oh, our oven is voice activated, and the kids are playing VR stuff, and they're doing things like that. So they're starting it now in the summer of 1969. And so they're going to gather around the television to watch the moon landing in 1969. That'll be the first act. Then the second act takes place on Halloween night of 1985. I'm pretty sure I know what I was doing on Halloween night of 1985. And so the daughter is showcasing the gadgets and appliances and stuff they had, like Walkman and that kind of thing. The uncle is still whining about the lack of bathroom privacy. Act 3 is New Year's Eve, 1999, as the millennium
I definitely know
changes.
what I was doing on New Year's Eve, 1999.
You were Pancho Barnes.
Yeah, I was Pancho Barnes.
I was Leonardo da Vinci.
Yep.
We were in a LARP. They're ringing in the new millennium with the internet is new, and Grandma's fiddling with the TV. And then Act 4 is the future, like far in the future, like it's a colony on Mars or something like that. And there are robots and that kind of thing. So we'll have to see. So it ends July 6th, 2026. And they will not get rid of There's a Great Big Beautiful Tomorrow. It will still be part of the show. But it's the first big update since 1994 where they changed that last act to be a little more into the future. So it could be really interesting. I hope it's fun. I'm sorry that I'm not in Florida. I'd love to go see it like one last time. I think that'd be pretty cool. But I'm looking forward to seeing like the new version and what it does.
Sean, you want to grab the rest in peace section?
I do. We lost two people, I think. Kyle Busch passed away at the age of 41. He was NASCAR racer, and it was very sudden. He's won more races than anyone in the NASCAR series, of which there are 3 different series of racing. And he was hospitalized suddenly. They haven't said what he died from, but he did not die on the track. And he died very suddenly in the hospital. So at too young an age, 41 is awfully young. And then at the age of 64, which I still consider pretty young, we lost kind of a giant of voiceover. Of course, he was in the Clone Wars as Yoda. He was also Admiral Yularen, and he was the Stentorian announcer at the beginning of every Clone Wars episode, where he would be basically the voice of the opening crawl, whatever that intro to that episode was. He would give you that. He was in a lot of different cartoons. Iron Man, Spider-Man, Johnny Bravo, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, Kim Possible, Wolverine and the X-Men, The Bad Batch, and he did like games and things. He voice matched people like Donald Pleasance. He stepped in on Archer when George Coe passed away as the Valet Woodhouse. And he also was Professor Utonium in the Powerpuff Girls. So he's the guy who created the Powerpuff Girls. So he was a tremendous guy. We did a lot of stuff with him. So sorry if I get a little emotional here. Really terrific dude. He and I would do an event, and of course I always have my Yoda puppet with me, and we would have dueling Yodas, and he would do a line, and I would do a line, and he would do a line, and I would do a line, and one of us would run out of lines and start going da 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 da. And it was very funny, and he was always a good sport and very kind, and I'm very sad he's passed away. He had a stroke back in 2022, I think, and he recovered quite a bit from that, but not enough. And so sadly, we just lost him a little while ago. I have one more thing, I think, on this list that I teased.
Great.
That we didn't talk about, which is Weird Al Yankovic is going to Broadway. You know what a jukebox musical is, something like Mamma Mia, where they take the collected works of ABBA and they write a story that incorporates those as the songs that everybody sings to move the plot along. That appears to be what they're going to do with Dare to Be Stupid. Weird Al has been doing this since the late 70s, and it seems a little bizarre, but the people who are behind Beetlejuice and Gutenberg, and Alex Timbers is going to direct. He did Moulin Rouge, the musical, among other things. And so the Hollywood Reporter is basically saying that this is going to span his entire catalog. White and Nerdy, Amish Paradise, Eat It, Smells Like Nirvana, Like a Surgeon. Dare to Be Stupid, of course, was an entire album as well as a song. So we figured that'll be in there somewhere. Al says this. He says, "Ever since I was a middle-aged man, I've always wanted to be part of the New York theater community. Plus, the one thing people always say about Broadway is that it's severely lacking in Weird Al-based entertainment.
I mean, that's what I always say.
And I think this musical should fix that problem immediately." Anyway, I still think Weird Al Yankovic should be the halftime show at the Super Bowl. I think he is a halftime act that everyone can agree on.
Yeah.
And being the nice guy that he is, I think he deserves it. So
That would be great.
I think we should push for
Is
that.
that just from the mind of Sean Crosby, or did somebody suggest that?
I've been saying
elsewhere?
it for years.
Oh.
I'm sure there are other people who say it as well. I've been saying this for years, is that we
Right.
should have Weird Al come do it. Because, like, it's been getting really political lately, and especially, but sometimes they'll throw an act up there that, like, who are The Weeknd? I don't know who those guys are. And a lot of people are like, I'm not going to watch the halftime show. I think everybody would watch Weird Al Yankovic. And if you've ever seen his live show, you know why. Because his live
shows are incredible.
They're absolutely insane.
Whenever people have that, oh, what was your best concert ever? And I'm like, whatever Weird Al concert I've been to, because all of them were amazing.
You can go see Taylor Swift. You can go see Sabrina Carpenter. I guarantee you they don't do as many costume changes as Weird Al Yankovic does. And his band is amazing because they can sound like any band that has ever been. And his songs are all entertaining. Even if you do not know the song he's parodying, they're funny. And they're great. So, I mean, seriously, it just needs to happen. Because I think it's a thing that we could all agree on. And people will stop whining about, Bad Bunny, he speaks another language, and blah, who cares? Let's get Weird Al out there, and the whole band. They all deserve it.
Yeah. And with that, we come to the top of the hour.
That is it. This is Sci-Fi.radio, sci-fi for your Wi-Fi. You are listening to Docking Bay 94. You could be watching us on Facebook or YouTube or Twitch. All of those things are cool. To all of you over in the chat who have been hanging out, thanks for hanging out. We really do appreciate all of your comments and things. And people doing their reminiscences over there for Tom Kane and things like that. I appreciate that too. He's really was a man of the fans. He was a really great guy. So yeah, I'm gonna miss him for sure. But you can listen to me tomorrow at Good Morning Tatooine at 9 a.m. Pacific time at sci-fi.radio. Plus there's lots of other things. This show replays during the week and things like that, or you can rewatch it on YouTube or Facebook or Twitch. It's up there for a while before they dump it for space. And also, if you want to turn someone else onto the show who maybe can't listen to a Thursday night kind of thing, we appreciate that. And of course, we will be back to do this again next week, hopefully with Jeff. Sorry you missed it, Jeff, and we missed Kit. Sorry those guys didn't make it tonight.
I'm calling Kaylee Crosby.
I am Sean Obi-Shawn Crosby. As always,
May the force be with you.
And we will see all y'all later on. Some credits here for the video people. By video people. See you next week.